Hello everyone, welcome you to the 11th lecture of Applied Thermodynamics subject. Today's topic is chemical dehumidification process. So first of all, what is this chemical dehumidification and how can we achieve this? So it can be achieved by using the hygroscopic material. So the function of the hygroscopic material is to absorb the water vapor from the moisture. So first of all, this thing, or you can say the uh, chemical dehumidification, which can be achieved with the help of this hygroscopic material, which can absorb the water vapor from the moisture. So here you can see in this area we are using the hygroscopic material, and when the air which gets passed through this hygroscopic material, then you can see the water vapor which is inside the air, which gets condensed. And here you can see which can or here you can say that whatever the amount of moisture which gets inside the air, which gets absorbed by this hygroscopic material. Here you can see the water vapor content from the air which gets absorbed by this hygroscopic material. So as you can see, the moisture contents which gets absorbed from this hygroscopic material, at the outside the air becomes dry. So here you can see the moisture content which gets higher, but at the outside you can see the moisture content which gets lower. It means that at inside the value of specific humidity of inside air which gets higher, but in the case of outside, here you can see the value of moisture or the value of humidity which gets decreased. So here the main function of this hygroscopic material is to absorb the amount of moisture from the air, or to absorb the amount of moisture from the dry air. So here the function of this cooling and or we can say the heating and dehumidification process. Sometimes it also known as the heating and dehumidification process, because here you can see the value of a dry bulb temperature which gets increased, but here the value of humidity which gets decreased. So it is also, we can say that it is also a case of heating and dehumidification process. So if it is done in the thermally isolated conditions, then what happens? Then the enthalpy of air which remains constant, because here it is thermally isolated. It means that no heat transfer which gets during this process. So in this case, the value of enthalpy of the air which remains constant during the whole process, if it is done in the thermally isolated conditions. So here as a result for that, the value of temperature of air which gets increased and its moisture content which gets decreased, as shown in a figure. So here you can see the value of moisture which gets decreased during this whole process, and the value of bulb temperature which gets increased. And this hygroscopic material which can be in a solid form, or which can be in a liquid form. So in general, the absorption of water by the hygroscopic material is an exothermic reaction. Between that, it means that exothermic means that some amount of energy must be released during this process. It means that the absorption of water by the hygroscopic material is the energy releasing process. So here you can see, as the amount of water vapor which release some amount of energy, it means that that same amount of energy will gain by the air. So here you can see the heat is released during this process by the water vapor, and the same amount of energy or the same amount of enthalpy which gets by the air. So here you can see which is gets transferred to the air, and the enthalpy of air increases, and the enthalpy of water vapor which may decrease. So the same enthalpy which is gained by this air. So here you can see the enthalpy of air which gets increased in the actual case of the absorption of water by the hygroscopic material, or you can say the actual chemical dehumidification process. The value of enthalpy of water vapor which gets decreased, but the same amount of energy which gets by the air. So the enthalpy of air which gets increased during this whole process of chemical dehumidification in actual case. So here is the chemical dehumidification process. So here if say enthalpy at that point, here in this case the value of enthalpy is say remains same, but in actual the value of enthalpy which gets increased. So here the slope may be varies from O to F. The slope may be varies from O to F dash. So here you can see the value of enthalpy HO, and here is the value of enthalpy which is HF dash. So here you can see the value of HF dash which gets increased as compared to HO in the actual case. Here is the ideal case. And also here it can be explained with the help of this cyclomatic chart. So in the case of constant enthalpy, or you can say in the case of actual, here is say our initial point, say here is our initial point, and say here is the final point. So here is the point number 1, point number 2. Or so in this case you can see the value of enthalpy remains constant. It means that it is the case of ideal process. But if you want to increase the value of enthalpy during this whole process, then the line must be somewhat inclined, not gets them straight. So here is the example. So here say point number 1, and here is say point number 2. So here you can see the value of enthalpy and at inlet, and here is the enthalpy at outlet. So here you can see the value of enthalpy which gets increased during this chemical dehumidification process. And here the value of dry bulb temperature which gets increased, and also the value of humidity, or you can say the value of humidity ratio or the value of specific humidity which gets decreased from point 1 to 2. And here in this case the value of wet bulb temperature which also gets increased, but here you can see the value of dew point temperature which gets decreased. And here also the value of RH, or you can say the relative humidity which gets decreased during this chemical dehumidification process. Here is the next process, which is the adiabatic saturation process. So during this process the air temperature drops and its humidity which gets increased. So it is also known as the cooling and humidifying process, or can say cooling and humidification process. So in the case of adiabatic saturation process, so during this process the air temperature which gets drops and its humidity which gets increased. And also this process is shown in figure, and this can be achieved by the spraying the cool water in the air stream. So here we are supplying the cold water spray to the inside air, or you can say the air which is flowing inside this area. So here first of all the temperature of water should be lower than the dry bulb temperature of air, but higher than its dew point temperature to avoid the condensation of moisture content which is gets inside the air. So here first of all the value of circulating water, or you can say the cold water temperature which must be lower than the value of dry bulb temperature. So the value of this cold water temperature which must be lower than the dry bulb temperature, but it is higher than the dew point temperature of air. So here you can see there will be no chance of this moisture which gets condensed and it becomes the dehumidification process, because in here here we want to humidify the air. It means that the moisture content at the outlet which must be higher than the moisture content at inlet. And if it is happened that if the value of cold water supply which gets over than the dew point temperature of air, then here you can say the condensation of water vapor which may happen. So due to that the amount of moisture at the outlet which may be decreased. So here in this case we have to avoid this condensation thing. So here that the value of circulating water temperature must be higher than the dew point temperature of the inside air to avoid the condensation of water vapor, because here at the outlet we want to increase the moisture content of supply air. So here in this case the temperature of water which should be lower than the dry bulb temperature of air, but it must be higher than the dew point temperature to avoid the condensation. And if this thing happen, then we cannot humidify the air as the value of moisture which gets decreased. So we must have to avoid this condensation in the case of adiabatic saturation process. And it can be seen that during this process there is a sensible heat transfer from the air to water. It means that the amount of temperature of the air which gets decreased and the latent heat transfer from the water to air. It means that the value of temperature of water which remains same, but its phase gets a change. So here in this case, here is a first case and here is the second case. So here in this case you can see the value of temperature which gets decreased, so it is a cooling process. And here you can see the value of moisture content which gets increased, so it is the combination of cooling and humidification process, which is also known as the adiabatic saturation process. Hence, the value of a total heat transfer which can be depend upon the water temperature. So, how much amount of air temperature drop will which is on the water temperature. And if the temperature of water spread is equal to the wet bulb temperature of the air, then what happens? So then the net transfer rate will be 0, as the sensible heat from the air to water will be equal to the latent heat of transfer between the water to air. So it means that if the value of a wet bulb temperature is equal to the, or you can say if this thing happened that the value of water temperature is equal to the wet bulb temperature of air, then there will be a no heat interaction between the water and between the air. So if the value of water temperature which is higher than the wet bulb temperature of the air, then what happens? So then there will be a net heat transfer from water to air. So here if the value of water temperature which is higher than the wet bulb temperature of air, so here you can see the heat interaction which can be done from water to air, because here you can see the heat must be flow from higher temperature to a lower temperature. So in this case the value of wet bulb, or you can say here in this case the value of water temperature which is higher than the wet bulb temperature of air, it means that the heat must flow from water to air. And if the value of water temperature is less than the wet bulb temperature of air, then what happens? Then the net heat transfer will be from air to water. So in this case the value of water temperature which is less than the wet bulb temperature of air, then what happens, the heat may be go through the air to water. So here you can see the heat may be transferred from the air to water. And under a special case, when the spray of water is entirely recirculated and it is neither heated or cooled, it means that it is entirely recirculated and also it does not having the effect of temperature of water. So here in this case the value of temperature of water which remains same in the entire circuit. So here you can see which is neither heated or cooled, the system is perfectly insulated and the makeup water is supplied at the wet bulb temperature. Then what happens? So then at a steady state and the air undergoes an adiabatic saturation process during which its wet bulb temperature which remains constant. And this is the and also it is known as the process of adiabatic. It means that no heat transfer. It means that the value of enthalpy which remains constant. So here in our case the value of enthalpy and also the value of WBT which remains constant. So here, so in the case of adiabatic saturation, adiabatic in the case of adiabatic saturation process of cooling and humidification is encountered in a wide variety of devices such as the evaporative coolers and cooling towers. So this is happening in the case of evaporative coolers, or you can say the cooling towers. So this is the cooling and humidification process which also occurs in. Here are the examples of where this gets or where it gets happens in the case of evaporative coolers and in the case of cooling towers, etc. So it is also known as a cooling and humidification process, as the value of a dry bulb temperature which gets decreased but the value of humidity which gets increased. So it is the cooling and humidification process. So if we draw the cooling and dehumidification process, so here is a point number 1, and if we follow the constant enthalpy line, then here is a point number 2. So here is the point number 1 and here is point number 2. So here at inlet you can see the value of dry bulb temperature is 45, and at the outlet you can see the value of dry bulb temperature which gets 35. So it means that the value of dry bulb temperature which gets decreased, it means that it is the case of cooling process. And here you can see at the point 1 the value of humidity, or you can say the value of humidity ratio or value of specific humidity, or you can say the water vapor content is lower, and at outer you can see the value of water vapor content is higher. So here you can see here in the case the value of specific humidity which gets increased from 1 to 2. It means that the value of moisture content will increase from 0.1 to 2. It means that it is the case of humidification process. And here the value of enthalpy which remains same, and also the value of wet bulb temperature which also near about remains same. And here in this case the value of dew point temperature which gets decreased from 1 to, or you can say the value of dew point temperature which gets increased from 1 to 2. Here you can see the value is between 0 and 5, and here is the value between 10 to 15, or you can say almost 14, and here the value of dew point temperature is near about 5. So here is 4. So 4 to 14, it means that there must be increase in the value of dew point temperature of the air. And here you can see the value of RH, or you can say the value of relative humidity which gets increased from 0.1 to 2. So these all things are done in the case of adiabatic saturation process. So here are some questions for you. Explain chemical dehumidification process with diagram, and also explain the adiabatic saturation process with a diagram. You have to solve these both questions and send it to Google Classroom.